Hello, welcome. I'm Melissa. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. And if you're new here, I'm happy to have you. Today is going to be a fun video, but it's sort of sad in a way because I'm chopping a moss pole. Usually when I chop a moss pole, there's a lot of emotions that go into it because the plant started from so small and then it's grown into this huge plant that it is today currently. I'm very excited to let it grow and get bigger leaves. That's the whole point of chopping, is to encourage that growth to continue, because once the plant starts to vine and grow off the pole, they lose that maturity and they tend to get smaller again. So that's the reason for chopping, and I want to create a full bushy pole out of what I currently have her on right now. My Marble Queen pole is actually still half plastic. This is going to be her second pole chop. Her first one I did around December. I filmed that entire process, so if you want to revisit that video, I will link it up here for you. She has now grown to the top of that extension about 8 months later. I should have chopped her last month, but it's okay. She's grown a little bit off the pole, so I hope I can get that part bent to get on a new pole. It's going to be a little bit tricky. I am going to be making my pole off camera first. I have a DIY tutorial on my channel. I will make sure to link that up here as well and down below in the description. It's a really easy to follow tutorial. So once I have my pole made, I will get to the chopping process. I'm going to get all my supplies down here in the plant room on the floor, and we're going to get started. Luna wanted to say hi first. She just jumped up. Hold on, Luna wanted to say hi. Say hi, Luna. Hi. You want to help me chop my Marble Queen? Hmm? She's like, no, mommy. All right, I'll see you guys back here in just a bit. Okay, I just took Miss Marble Queen from her spot. Look at her, you guys. Look at those leaves. They're humongous. So the newest leaf is this one. It's growing like off the pole. But just look how huge this leaf is compared to my hand. I feel like this one is still hardening. It's unbelievable. So I'm gonna sit her down and show you what we have going on. She's gotten so big, it is crazy. I really haven't examined her really in a while. I don't know. Look at how thick and chunky this vine is as well. Do you see that? That is crazy. It has gotten so thick. If I bend this up to get her on a new pole, she's gonna snap. So I'm gonna have to be very careful. So this big vine here is the main vine, the one that has just excelled. And from my last chop, what I tried to do was take a few of the other vines. It looks like from the side, I have a small one here that has completely grown off. This one is kind of all green. And then this little one here, I had put to do in here as well to see if it would climb. But since this one I did like 8 months ago and it hasn't climbed at all, I think I'm just gonna take this little one out. So inside of this wire is a plastic pole. So I put the wire around the plastic for stability, and then I added a wire on. You can kind of see where I added that. I'm basically going to be taking apart the entire pole, both sections, taking all the moss out, getting rid of the base because it is plastic, and then adding this section into here, and then I'll be extending a new pole on top. That is the plan. I'm going to do my best with it. Before I do anything though, the first thing I like to do is cut the vine so that it can start callousing while I take apart the pole. This one's just a little tricky because I do have the plastic part on the bottom, so I just have to kind of think about what I want to do with her. So I think I'm going to cut on the vine right here where my finger is. Do you see? She has officially been chopped. Ugh, it's such a thick vine. What I'm gonna do next, I think, is just remove this stake. I forgot to mention I watered her really good last night, so the moss and everything is super wet. I wanted her to be as hydrated as possible, so that would help prevent any shock that she may go through. It's gonna make the vine a little bit harder to work with because it is so watered that it's not pliable. It's not as easily bendable, you could say. So that's the only downside to it, but I just wanted her to be as hydrated as possible because when a plant is dehydrated, they're stressed and it can definitely cause more shock, just in my experience. But she has enough root system in this pole that I'm not really worried about her shocking. But anything can happen. It's really hard to show you guys because she's so big and it's hard to get the camera in closer. But you can kind of see right here where all those roots have grown into it. I'm gonna have to cut right here. Whoa. Wow, that's crazy. Our top half. So there's wire in here that I don't think I can get out. It might be stuck in there. I just had to like cut the part of the wire because where I had chopped the vine, there's too many roots here. I couldn't just like pluck it out, if that makes sense. This is a heavy vine. She's huge. Aww. I didn't really get that emotional this time. Normally I get really emotional with pole chops. I think I'm more excited than anything. I'm just kind of peeling some of this moss away. I'm just making a mess on my floor because at this point it doesn't really matter. I really want to get this extra wire out of here though. Okay, I think I'm going to move this to my table so I can work on this. Look at her. This is so crazy. So this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get this little piece of plastic out of here. I just have so many roots in here. I don't want to damage this wire at all. I'm going to try and pluck this away. I'm going to just cut. I mean, I probably could leave this, but I really don't want to. This is gonna have to go in the soil anyway, so this is like the new bottom part, so I have to remove some of this moss anyway. There's just so many roots in here. I probably should have cut it up higher, like right here, but then I would have probably cut away some of this pole, which I didn't really want to take too much length off. it just has so many roots that I can't like lift this right up like I normally do. I can normally like feed the roots through, but I think there's just so many. Okay, I made that way more complicated than I should have. Oh. And so you see, I cut it here originally, and then I cut it again. So I basically have one extra cutting here that will probably reactivate some new growth. I should have cut it up higher initially, but that's okay. We're gonna leave it like that. Look at how many roots were inside of that. I definitely had to break some. So I'm gonna be adding this section into the pole. So I basically just have to work on feeding all of these roots through the wire, which is very tedious. But yeah, that's my next step for this piece. This one that reverted, that's all green. I'm just gonna chop that up and prop it because it was growing off the pole. It wasn't even attached. You can see all those little bumps, all those little aerial roots there. Just that bottom section was rooted in, but since it's all green, I don't want to add that one in there too. I'm just gonna prop this. And then I have a few pieces left in the bucket, the pot, that I'm just gonna prop. And I'll probably end up just adding those into like my trailing basket or creating a new pot with it, but yeah, I'm just gonna be adding this one into the pole. Oh, I am getting very tired. I stuffed the vine all in there, so now I just have to fill with moss and zip tie this part shut. And then we will plant the bottom part into a pot with my soil mix, and then we will do the extension. Moss poles normally aren't this complicated if you're just doing a simple chop and then you go to extend. It's when you try and like feed more vines through the pole and all of the roots, trying to feed them all through, and that's where it becomes complicated. So just keep that in mind if you are wanting to do something like that. If you're like wanting to add the bottom section back into the top section when you go to chop it, it's just a lot of work. Yeah, I mean, it's doable. You know, she should do fine, that one vine that I'm adding in. Because again, I did the same thing with my micans over here, and all the vines survived when I did it this way. So yeah, that's definitely the most time consuming thing. So yeah, you'll see me, I need to get some more moss and fill this pole back up, zip tie it shut, and then we will, again, like I said, do the potting up and then the extension. My nails are getting destroyed now. I need to use some Velcro and really anchor the vine that I stuffed through there into the pole. Like I need to Velcro it in a few spots because it's starting to come out where I added all the roots in. It's just, I don't really have a way to secure it because the orchid clips are too small and the wire clips don't fit in that well because it's not established, so it wants to like push back out, if you know what I mean. So I need to use some Velcro and really get this anchored on. But before I do that, I'm going to try and very carefully pot this plant up. It's a lot of work, guys. I've already been doing this for about 2 hours. For the soil, I have a little bit of my moss pole mix left right here. I'm gonna try and use, yeah, I'll have enough. So I'm gonna use this. And my scooper. So I think you guys know the drill and what I do. Whoa, dun 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 dun. Oh my goodness. Okay, first things first is we have to fill this with a little soil, and this is going to be messy. She is so short. Oh my goodness. Look how short she is. That's so funny. Okay, as soon as I go to extend her, here she'll look better. I just got to get this vine secured a little bit better. All right, so I'm going to add a little soil in here first. Adding our Osmocote. All right, pot is good. This is going to be tricky because the vine is so thick and it just overgrew. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to bend this up against the new pole. We're going to slap this on before we fix the vines. I always do this. I always leave my zip ties across the room when I need them. Okay, I got her zip tied. Before I add the stake, this vine is coming back out. I'm gonna try and secure this, and then I have to maneuver this top one up some too, which I don't know how I'm gonna do that. All right, so yeah, all these little roots are wanting to come out that I stuffed in here. Now I just have to get this top vine anchored. Which I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. I really want to get this anchored down. I think that's the best that she'll do. And then she will, I think I'm gonna put her like this back in my corner, and then this leaf will probably move down. This one will probably move this way. This one here will kind of turn in towards this way. So she's gonna look a little funny until then. I need to do one more here. Especially since this top section was rooting off the pole, it hadn't like shot the aerial roots into the moss yet. So I really want to get this close so those can start rooting in there. And like I said, she was working on a new leaf. She's gonna push that out. That might get affected. It might get affected before like it pushes out, but it might not. I guess we'll see. I'm not gonna chop her again anytime soon though. I want her to focus on growing more. And then I will add a foot extension on, and then at that point, I have to figure out if I want to chop her again. I'm adding the stake back in here for stability. And then I have to water her base. Yeah, I'm actually just going to take her to my shower, give her a good rinse off, and she'll be done. I just got to chop up these other nodes and I'm just going to stick them in a cup of water. The vine that I added in, I'm thinking it should do fine, but there's a chance that it could shock. There's a chance that both of these vines could shock since I basically cut away the entire root system. It's just kind of a wait and see game. What I have to do though to reduce shock is make sure the plant's getting enough light, make sure the environment is good. It's pretty warm in here. It's not as humid. It's been living in the 50s humidity with the carpet out of here. Like right now it's only 52. So during winter, I'm definitely gonna have to run a humidifier in here. It was just holding on to humidity a lot more when the carpet was in here. It was like 70%, 60, 70. So humidity could definitely be better. And then the most important thing is not letting the pole dry out. The vine that I added in here, it doesn't have any roots on the bottom to support any uptake of moisture. It's not getting it anywhere except for the pole, the roots that I stuffed in there. So if this pole, this moss goes dry, they're not getting hydrated. And so that strand is going to shock. So that's the most important thing. Even the vine that's been here, I cut away the base. So really the only roots that this plant has is contained in the moss. All right, she is secure. All right, I'm gonna meet you in my bathroom and we will hose her off real quick. I just have some of my filtered water. I'm just gonna water her pot with the filtered water that's soiled through. She is humongous. All right, I'm gonna let her drain in here for a little bit. Gosh, she is just magnificent. That would be awesome if she starts fenestrating. When I saw that golden pothos in Florida, like this leaf is 14, almost 14 inches. I think those leaves were like 3 feet long at least. They were huge. I'm gonna let her drain for a little bit and then clean up that mess in my plant room, and then I'll show you her in her spot like once she's all back in there. And then that'll be it for this video. Oh, let me show you the cuttings. All the cuttings are here. This is all the ones that were left. So most of this is the reverted strand that was all green. We had several of those. And then we had a few variegated ones that were still in the bottom. So I'm just gonna stick these in a vase of water and let these root, and I can always just create a new marble queen pot with these. Are you guys ready for the reveal? Da 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 da! Look! It looks so weird because she's so short now compared to like the height of my other poles. Because she was like all the way up here. She's so short, it looks so funny. Her leaves, you know, will adjust to the light source. They're kind of, I have the other vine like on the other side, so she's definitely has to kind of figure herself out and move a little forward. It's amazing seeing these big leaves though, because they were kind of obstructed up top. I couldn't really see them that well. I'm very happy with her though. Let me turn her a little bit. There we go. And then you can see the vine here that I added in on the side. So that's the one that I have to pay close attention to, because this is the one that would shock the most since I had to stuff it in there. But once she straightens out, she'll look a lot better and kind of be more on the side with this vine. And then since I had to chop the top growth, so this is where I chopped. So this here was the connected to the very bottom of the main vine since I chopped her in half. So this will take a little bit of time to reroute energy to push new growth from that node for it to start climbing. Now, since I did chop it, it will be a little bit of a smaller growth, but then it should start sizing up again. So I'm actually curious what that growth will look like. You know, and that strand may not even make it. Maybe it will just stress and maybe it just won't do well. It's hard to say. I did really have to manhandle the roots though, but we're gonna see. I hope you enjoyed this process. It was definitely chaotic. I'm tired. I feel like my back hurts and my hands hurt, but it's okay. It was worth it. Pole chops are a lot of work. The bigger they get, the more room they take up. So that's like another thing. I don't know what my end goal is with my moss poles. I would like some of them to get larger, so we'll see. So if you have any questions about anything, leave me a comment down below. I will have all of my moss pole content linked down there. I have a whole moss pole playlist. I've done a lot of choppings now, so I will have all those videos linked in that playlist, and I will make sure to include this one. I will have my moss pole tutorial and her first chop down there if you want to go back and rewatch that at all. And I'll have my moss pole supplies and everything linked down there too. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you again very soon.